Hey guys, here at OS and VTXReviews.com. Today we're giving you a very retro and special look at the Creative Nomad Jukebox. This is one of the earliest jukeboxes and MP3 players to ever hit the market. It has a full hard drive based device, and looking back at it, it's huge. It resembles the size of a CD player, and that's really large for an MP3 player of the 21st century. Just taking a look on the design, it really does resemble a lot of CD players in terms of size, and you may even think that it is a CD player. It can open, but really it's just got a hard drive underneath here that comes in capacities of 5 gigs or 10 gigs or 15 gigs. You can get that much gigabytes of memory to play music on here. In terms of design, you've got this nice plastic construction. It does feel pretty solid in hand, although it's pretty heavy like a CD player again. We've got this silver construction, and we have a monochrome display, and we also have this blue plastics. It says Creative Nomad Jukebox. And on the front, we've got this monochrome display that is backlit. It's relatively large, larger than a CD player, so you might think this is a first sign. It's not really going to be that way. You also have a few controls like play, stop, skip tracks, and these are all tactile, written above the surface, and these also correspond to turning the device on and off. We have 3 hotkeys. We have an up and down scroll key, and we also have a lib button, which is a library button, and we have another Equalizer and X button for adjusting different settings and stuff. In the menu system, what we'll see in a second. We also have an IR port for some special accessories. On the right hand side, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack. We also have a volume control, which is actually a rocker. It's a scroll wheel. It goes round and round and round. Kind of interesting design there. On the other side, we've got a lock or unlock key. This is just basically for memory if you want to turn the device on lock. And on the back, we have a USB for connecting to your computer for syncing music. Of course, this is a FireWire port. It's not the typical USB 2.0 port that we see these days. We also got a DC in, which is a 12 voltage port for charging the device if you have rechargeable batteries in here, or if you want to use it just on AC power. And what's pretty interesting, because this is called a jukebox, it's actually kind of it's an entire system for playing music and recording music. We've also got line in, we also have line out, so it's interesting. You can hook up to stereo sounds, we can also line in and put some microphone recordings and stuff, so it's definitely a lot more complex, a lot more professional than what we see in basic MP3 players these days. On the back, you'll see the monster of how this device is ran, and that's really by batteries. Now, Creative says that you should probably use rechargeable batteries, specifically their rechargeable batteries. But it's pretty much just AA batteries. It's 4 AA batteries that it runs on, which is a lot, and battery life isn't superb, as you might expect, because this is a spinning hard drive. Now, pressing the play button turns the device on. We'll see that in a second. Now, you'll notice almost immediately upon this device's turning on is that it's got its own system. It's almost kind of like Windows CE. You can actually hear it. The disc is actually spinning, and it's thinking, and it's got all these sounds, and the menu system is kind of complex, and because during times this was made in 2000, so it's got a lot of systems and navigational settings, and it's pretty complex. It actually reminds me a lot of an early Palm Pilot or early Windows CE product of the sounds that the hard drive is making. It's kind of vibrating, and it's also got all these systems and navigational stuff because it's pretty complex again, and it's got a lot of EQs and stuff you can adjust, and with all those settings it comes a system that you can navigate through a lot of different pages and stuff. So it reminds us of actually a mini computer, which is kind of neat, but it also shows how far we've gone in terms of technology. So it's spinning, so that's one thing. You don't want to drop this, but it still feels fairly rugged. It doesn't feel too bad in the hand. As you can see, the monochrome display is backlit. We can take a look at different menus like Creative Demo. We can actually play music, play and pause music. You just directly press the play and pause. Surprisingly, everything still works. You can hear the vibration again. We'll see if we can hear that. And it just stopped right now, and it shows you if it's playing on the top, the track number. If it's playing, you can also pause it, and by pressing the play button, it pauses the music or stop it, and then it tells you when it's stopped. So it's pretty easy to navigate that way. We can also press buttons, and we can change the library view, which is all our albums, our tunes, and our artists by pressing the library. and we can navigate through. We can look at if we have any albums. We've got some albums, best of Bach, best of Beethoven. We've got some symphonies on here, obviously, because it's enough for a lot of stuff. There's classical music mostly on here. This one's interesting. We've also got some other classics from like Michael Jackson, like "Smile" by Michael Jackson. We've also got some stuff, the Beatles, 1967 to 1970s. This is an interesting track. This is an interesting device that we've just dug up and taking a look at. And so it's got all these things. Surprising thing is sound quality is actually very, very good. Plugging in a pair of 3.5mm headphone jacks, the sound quality is really crisp. The audio quality, it's really clear, and most importantly, basses are also really low. So it's a surprisingly good equalizer in here, and you can also really easily adjust that by just selecting different navigations. Now, as you can see, the hotkeys correspond to the buttons now on the bottom, which are open, Q, and we also have a back key. If we press the back, we can go back. We've also got genes and artist names. We want to see artists, and it shows us a list of all those artist names and stuff. And we can go back, and we can also have a search. We can search for the artist names, so I'm not really sure how we do that. We're supposed to search in letter, alphabet? I'm not sure. But you can really tell that there's a lot of navigations, there's a lot of systems built in, so they did actually put in a lot of, Creative did put in a lot of work with this. There's a whole libraries, there's a lot of settings, and a lot of EQs, and just a lot of things that you can change, a lot of features you can access, a lot of hidden stuff as well, and through all the scrolling and stuff. So it's really interesting to see the ancestor of modern day creative MP3 players, but really just the modern day MP3 players in general. This was basically the iPod back in 2000, and even in today's standards, it's got a memory, 5 gigs, 10 gigs, 15 gigabytes of memory, gigs, not megabytes, because flash memory, of course, is going to be a lot smaller. But hard drive memory, that's pretty impressive in terms of memory back then, but it's a spinning hard drive, and this is one of the first spinning hard drives I think that I've really touched, and I've been surprised that it's actually spinning. I can actually hear all the sounds and stuff, because usually a lot of iPods and iPod Classics have hard drives, but you can't hear them spinning and stuff, because they're a lot more quiet and a lot more optimized. But that's pretty interesting. Here's a look back at the Creative Nomad Jukebox, a very interesting jukebox MP3 player. Thank you for watching at osandbtxreviews.com.